things that I've discovered being able to both launch nonprofits and social ventures is that it's not easy. You need a ton of resources, you need more willpower than you can possibly imagine, and you need to know where to go to find it. So basically, over the last 4 to 5 years, I became this expert in knowing what resources were available here in New York. And having encountered a large amount of strife and opposition in creating my own startups, specifically because they're socially responsible, which means they tend to care about the environment and people before they are intended to create a profit, these are the most difficult things to fund. And what happened is that I realized that the city is like a huge wealth of resources. The internet is like a bottomless pit of resources. And many of us don't know where to go to actually access those resources. We don't know what is valuable and what isn't. We don't know what is pertinent to us and what isn't. So I started teaching these classes and giving these presentations on how to launch a startup, how to launch a social enterprise, and now today, how to launch a nonprofit. Since a nonprofit requires that you incorporate no differently than you would a corporation, there's a lot of steps that are entirely similar to what you would do if you were launching a for-profit initiative. There are some things that are slightly different, and those are the things that we're going to focus on during this course, during this presentation. The only thing that I ask of all of us is that we wait until the last half hour and then we can do a Q&A. Because what I like to do is sort of look at us as if we're like hikers. We're going to go on this unbelievable trail hike today. You wouldn't take that trail hike to get to the end goal of the peak, or in this case, it's going to be starting your nonprofit. You wouldn't take that journey unless you had a trail map. It doesn't mean you have to go on the trail exactly as the map says, but you need a blueprint. And what I like to do is offer that blueprint. And then you can do whatever you want with it. So there will be a link that will be provided for everyone by the end of the class. I actually tweet out the link as well, and I just sort of give it away for free so that we can all have it and use it and make great startups and make great nonprofits. The only thing that I ask as a golden rule is before anyone gets going is find out if your nonprofit already exists. Don't create something that is already out there. And if you don't have any experience, start to work for the nonprofit that already exists that's doing exactly what you want to do. And if it's not entirely serving what your mission is, then after you gain experience and you learn the ins and outs of that nonprofit, then you can go off on your own. The statistics I'm going to share with you today are pretty shocking, and they're part of what informed me to give people this type of advice, which is nonprofits in the New York City area alone, based on 2009 research from Kauffman Foundation, outline that there are 42,428 registered nonprofits in this city alone. It's unbelievable, right? They employ over 470,000 people, pretty large number, and approximately 28,000 of those nonprofits have budgets over 5,000. And there were 2,500 nonprofits doing business profitably in the city in 2009. Now, what we extract from these statistics is that the large majority of nonprofits are not operating at a level that would pay your salary. They're passion projects. They're incorporated as nonprofit 501(c)(3)s. They've gone through that process, but they're not actually garnering a steady income. Now, the statistics on the national level are even more shocking. Now, I'm not saying this to dissuade you, or to persuade you one way or another. I'm just saying this so that you know exactly what that trail is going to look like before you step on it, and you figure out what type of trail shoes you need and what type of gear you need to actually go on the journey, whatever that looks like. So the first thing, as I said previously, is to find out whether or not your nonprofit exists. I cannot stress this enough. The odds are someone is doing something similar to what you have in your head. Now, it doesn't mean that that great idea you have isn't going to get realized. But you may want to know who's already doing something similar to what you're doing, and that's market research that you need to do before you even come up with an idea, come up with a name, come up with logos, come up with anything like that. And having seen so many international development projects go awry, partially because there's already local grassroots organizations doing exactly the same thing and arguably more effective in doing so, let us be empowered by the power of our idea and the power that comes from the knowledge of doing the market research to find out who else is doing it. So I say go to the Foundation Center first. I mean, if you're so empowered at the end of this conversation, walk down the hall, go to the Foundation Center directory, look up the keyword terms for whatever your idea is. You're going to build orphanages, you're going to recycle, you're going to start a citywide composting program. Type in these keywords into the Foundation directory and find out if this is already happening. And if it is happening, find out what degree this organization is in operation and what they're doing. This is a gold mine of information for you before you even get your idea into an operation stage or anything in between the idea stage, the spark, and actually creating your nonprofit.